Equality is not equal. Hello all, welcome to another podcast. Today we're going to be talking about a subject called equality. Now, as you've heard in some of my different podcasts or my different blogs here, I always like to separate execution from theory. Writing about something is entirely different. Learning how to ride a bike is entirely different than actually riding a bike. Falling down, scraping your knees, and in my case, getting pebbles in your knees because I grew up on a rocky road. It's completely different than reading about it. Your learning, your motivations change when you're actually feeling that pain or the variables of the real world versus the book. That's not to say one is more important than the other. That's just to say that there's a difference that needs to be considered. So now that I have that metaphor or that concept out of the way, let's talk a little bit about this utopian idea of equality. And essentially, depending on who you go to, I'm not going to generalize that word, but essentially if you were to just do a Google search or a definition, equality means everything's equal for everybody based on their abilities. So another term I hear is equality of outcomes. And I would say that equality of outcomes is a slippery slope, because if you want equality of outcomes, then you might as well shave everybody's head because there's bald people in the world. Break everyone's legs because there's handicapped people in the world. And that's the problem I have with that word equality, because where does the equality for all truly end? Do we handicap our entire society because some folks have some disabilities? And it's arbitrary. Now, that's my problem with equality of outcomes. I'm more of a champion of equality of opportunity, meaning everyone should have the same opportunity. And there's no way that you can make life fair. There are things, I believe, actions we can take to open up doors for disenfranchised folks, or what is it called? Those after school programs for people who don't have parents that don't have the time to tutor their kids, or maybe families that don't have two parents. I think those big brother programs, those mentor programs, I think those help introduce opportunities for others because they get to see opinions from people who care. So the one movie I definitely want to highlight in this rant is, I think it's the movie Monsters 2, Monsters University. That's a really good movie because, and here's a spoiler alert, don't watch the movie or don't complete this post if you don't want to know the spoiler. I won't give too many details, but that movie really emphasized on how our differences, our handicaps, can really open up doors, and it's a good thing. The fact that we're all different is a good thing. Forcing equality would make the quality of everything go down. So that's a real good movie. I'd highly recommend that, because I do believe that that the idea of opening the doors for everybody is talented. But I'm going to go a little bit deeper of how this kind of offends me, but also this concept of equal outcomes is really dangerous, because my wife is from a different country, and where she's from, the skin is darker than the average white person's skin. And there are policies such as affirmative action, and there are other statewide policies that say, because my kids might be a little bit darker than me, they deserve a lower bar for test scores. And my kids are not stupid. My wife is not stupid. These policies dictate or imply that they are dumber than me simply because of the color of their skin. Now, I'm not saying that's I'm not saying that's the idea behind the policy. I don't know. I'm saying that's the implication of the policy. Saying, oh, brown kid or black kid, you're dumber than the white kid. The white kid is smarter than you. What do you think that does for their self-esteem? There's no way in hell I'm going to tell my kid, my poor son or my daughter or my wife, you're dumber than me. We should lower the score. Hell no. They deserve to compete on the same level as me. And let's just say, what if they had less privilege than me? Let's just say that. Well, that's even more motivation for them to kick it up a notch. I think it's BS to assume someone's dumber simply because of the color of their skin. And if you're for programs that are for minorities, that lower the standard for them, then let me ask you this. Do you think that they're dumber than me? Do you think that they're dumber than a poor white kid? What would you say? Like, why do you think they deserve to have lower standards? Again, that's the problem with this initiative. There is one, I think it was a Jordan Peterson podcast that I listened to, and the host was saying that there's so much inequality in the world that it's not fair that his mother could get open heart surgery, but all the poor kids couldn't afford to go to the same hospital as his mother. And Jordan Peterson responded back, and he says, well, isn't it great that there's a doctor there because of inequality that could operate on your mother and fix her heart surgery? And that's a really good point. If we forced equality at the medical level, you wouldn't get the cream of the crop working on saving individuals' lives. If we force, and maybe we do, I don't know how other states run, but if we force equality in civil engineering groups, the bridges that we're driving over with our kids in our car aren't the highest quality bridges because they're lowering the score so they can have representation. That's just all these things. It goes back to the point, like, not only is that offensive, not only is that lowering the quality for all of us, not only is it racist, really, if you're for equality bills like affirmative action, that's freaking racist. It's not racist against the white people, it's racist against everybody you think isn't as smart as the white people or don't have the ability to be as smart as the white people. But then you also have to leverage the one thing to enforce any type of immigration, to enforce any type of equality. You have to discriminate against others who you assume have the advantage. So to implement equality, you have to force inequality. You see the slippery slope here? And again, like I said, that's not saying that people don't need help, but being racist and purposely discriminating, bringing everyone down, doesn't help the situation. So that's really all I had, on the top of my head about this concept of inequality. I think time and time, my fascination with history, I might start doing some more examples just to give some more concrete situations of how silly this concept is and how militant some people are, and it's destructive, very destructive. So this is just a rant for today. I hope you all have a good weekend. Talk to you later.